Good evening. Welcome to the very first regular meeting of the Biloxi City Council on this day, January 2nd, 2024. Happy New Year. Please rise for the invocation by George Parks.
All righty.
Go with me in prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to come before this city council. Give them the honor, the respect that they deserve. Allow them to lead this city in a way that will bring honor and justice to all of us. These and all other blessings, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Mayor, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, being that there is a change to the agenda, do I have a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Guines. All in favor? Unanimous vote. Carrie, will you read those changes, please?
To the consent agenda, we're removing item 5R, resolution requesting for reallocation of Mississippi municipality and county water infrastructure grant funding for Tanglewood infrastructure.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the agenda as
Second.
amended? We have a motion by Mr. Lawrence and a second by Mr. Guines. All in favor? Unanimous vote. This brings us to the presentation agenda. Mr. Mayor?
Madam President, I wish everybody a happy new year. Stacy, would you like to introduce, as part of our new member to our Mayor's Youth Council?
She was unable to attend the meeting, Mayor's Youth Council the first time. She had a soccer game, so she is doing her pickup day. This is Carrie Meeks. She is from Diablo High School.
But she lives in Wool Market. Right? Okay. Yeah. So welcome. We hope you learned some things out of this council meeting, and this is your government at work. I do, wish everyone, wish everyone had a good, season, holiday season. Now, time to get after 2024. We hope it's another great year. I don't, other than asking you to remove, this on Friday, the 5th. We'll be officially kicking off the Mardi Gras season right here with a great band at City Hall at, I think, 7 to 9. But the festivities with regard to the Mardi Gras organizations, Gulf Coast Mardi Gras, Neptune, and a number of organizations will be right here across from City Hall. And that'll be first Friday in conjunction with Main Street, Biloxi. It'll all happen here this Friday at 5:30. And, and Bucktown All-Stars will be the band. And we're looking forward to that. And I'll conclude by asking you to spread the expenses of the Biloxi Travel credit card to the minutes. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. If we don't have a departmental report, we'll move on to council reports. Mr. Lawrence?
Yeah, we've talked to you about this a couple of different times, Mayor. The 3% raise, have you put anything together what it would actually cost the city if we went to like $14, $15 minimum wage and a 3% raise for the?
We're working on that. Like I said, we did, I think our accountant is in the room. I think what we did with regard to longevity and some of that resulted in about a 1% raise, what has already been implemented. And we're kind of calculating all of that, where the percentage to get the, I think the minimum wage, minimum entry level is $13.65 right now. So we're doing some arithmetic to calculate what we can do to do the best for our employees.
Well, I know there are a lot of changes in the United States all around. A lot of people went to the 15 minimum wages. So I just knew that we need to be keeping up with everybody else. So we need to have something put on the table we can look at to see actually the cost is going to be to the city for whatever it might turn out to be.
Yeah.
1% with the longevity, another 2 or 3%, whatever, up to $14, $15. The minimum wage has got to be moved. That's for sure. That's just something we need to look at pretty serious.
Well, it's all competitive. We got to be competitive, and salaries is a big part of it.
Yeah, because that's pretty important right now to make sure we hold on to the employees we have. that actually work.
No comment.
No comment. And then, last night we had, Mr. Dimmons said something about August Parker, that he served 20-something years. Yeah, I understood all that. My biggest problem with August Parker, like I explained to everybody before, he votes too consistently against Ward 1 people. And he's supposed to represent Ward 1. He's supposed to represent the people in Ward 1. So that was one of the reasons I pushed it. Yeah, had something to do with short-term rentals and everything else. The biggest thing was, Robert, he votes against the people in Ward 1. We're supposed to be setting the rules and everything and abide by our laws and regulations, just like you, anybody else. That's what we took the oath to do, you know? So that was the biggest push for me, trying to get someone else to take his place. Didn't work that way, but that's the reason I pushed it. I just want to make sure I said that, because, yeah, I disagree with 90% of the way he votes. He's supposed to be voting with the people, not against the people. And he consistently does that. So that was my push for him to be replaced. Thank you.
Mr. Guines?
Yes, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I only had one thing. I know that in my Rotary meeting last year, toward the end of our last meeting, one of the officers came to our Rotary meeting, and he wanted to announce that the Thunderbirds will be coming back next year, which is 25. So I just wanted to let everybody know the Thunderbirds will be coming back. Thank you. That concludes my.
Thank you. Mr. Dimming?
Well, I guess Happy New Year, Mr. Mayor, Chief Miller, and I guess the fire department should be involved in this conversation too. Did you receive an email from Duncan McKenzie? I received an email addressed to both of us. You may not have read it yet. It came in, I think, pretty early this morning. It was regarding fireworks being shot off in neighborhoods. I know that we discussed this a year or two ago, maybe, something, and we changed the ordinance to restrict fireworks being discharged only 2 days out of the year. Is that a correct recollection of the rule?
Some holidays, 4th of July,
But on the beach, I mean, was it on the beach, restricted geographically to the beach, or
Well,
I don't remember.
did we, I know I think we moved to amend it to restrict it to the beach. Did we pass that? Jerry, do you know what that?
I don't think it was restricted to just, it actually opened up to those 3 days from now.
All right, now I know that, and Mr. McKenzie had sent us pictures with, basically it looked like shells that landed on his property, right? And he tells a story of a tree that was caught on fire for the same reason in Las Vegas. Of course, it's much drier there. However, I just wanted to see if we could bump heads, the fire department. I don't know if this is how many calls you get for fires that are started by fireworks in neighborhoods. I don't know if if it's an epidemic. I don't know how common occurrence those types of incidents are, but I would love to just have a little round table with you guys if we could, just to collaborate on how to make sure that we're maintaining, order and safety for the city.
Well, I think too, as far as fireworks incidents, did we have anything over the weekend? Did we have anything in 4th of July? I mean, did we have any really serious?
Well, this year was
Right.
Well, so the calls for service to me are irrelevant. It's the actual incidents that are important, because I'm sure you get tons of calls all night long about loud noises, disturbing dogs, and possible gunshots, or whatever it would be. I can imagine there's a litany of reasons why you get calls on 4th of July for fireworks. So the calls for service are almost irrelevant. When I'm more concerned with, like, how safe is this? And it seems like we don't have an epidemic of issues, but I know we have a lot of concerned people. So I would still love to get together with you guys and just put our minds together. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Mr. Tisdale?
Yes, I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and a terrific New Year. Sure, just give me the graduate school nod. That's all you got to do.
Have employees received an explanation on longevity pay, the resumption and the calculation? We said before the holidays, we were gonna try and get the administration was gonna try and get something to them, maybe, some verbiage to the directors to pass on, but it was, there was some confusion about that, and we were trying to iron that out, and,
All history, all history.
The memo, there's a memo sent December 21st or 22nd, I believe.
okay, and that went to,
All employees.
all employees, okay.
We'll get you a copy.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Also, a lot going on here in East Biloxi with the Katrina infrastructures. These projects are winding down or winding up. Our last city comprehensive plan was produced in 2009, and I know we would have to appropriate some dollars to do that. I think, Mr. Creel, there was it was before our tenure here, but as I recall, it was a private company, and there was, I think, grant money to do that. Maybe the city kicked in a little, but they conducted that process. And I'm thinking, I believe there may be a state statute stating we have to do something periodically. I don't know, or maybe in the reg somewhere, but might be a good idea, particularly with East Biloxi, with as little development as there is now, maybe to look at some things and see where we're going. It was a rather strenuous process, as I recall. It took 6 months. Right, and I'm thinking from time to time, I get questions, or if somebody is tracking a particular issue, they want to know how it complies with the city's comprehensive plan, which is basically just a guide. It says, here's where we're going, but it's just a thought, if we were gonna do something like that, we would need to appropriate some dollars to do that, and plan on that taking probably from soup to nuts, maybe a year or 9 months or something. It was a bit lengthy.
Let's remember, we need to get on the speakers.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it would take anywhere from 9 months to a year to put that together, because when you're changing the comprehensive plan, you also have to organize ward meetings to make people aware of the changes that you're proposing so that they have input.
Right. Thank you. Anyway, I'd just like to throw that out there, food for thought, and we don't have any funds appropriated for that this year, but we could in the next year. That's all I have. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to everybody.
Mr. Glavin?
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and a special thank you to our police department, our fire department. Y'all were out and about while everybody was trying to enjoy their time off and their holidays, keeping everybody safe and responding to accidents, during this busy holiday. Couple other things. Got a report on AJ Holloway Sportsplex. Looks like that's moving along pretty good. Looks like the turf is going to go down sometime in January, Mayor, is what I understand. And so I'm getting excited to see it take that next phase and that next step. And then perhaps we can line up some sponsors, because I think it's going to be an exciting new phase for AJ Holloway Sportsplex, and the next level it'll take, and what it's going to attract, and what it's going to mean not only for Ward 6 but the entire city. And then a couple little loose end projects. I know we're still trying to, and it's going to take a few months to get the dredging projects for some of the canals that were designated for dredging, to get some of that Go Mesa funding, something like that. But I guess it'll take a few months before we can kind of tee that up or find that funding source for those projects, correct?
Yes, sir. We'll, I think it would be useful if you'll share your thoughts with Kevin Felcher. He's pushing real hard to try and get us some Go Mesa money for dredging. Right now, we have some dredging money, but it's not going to go very far.
Okay.
But we're into the new legislative cycle now, so now's the time to pile on.
Okay. I'll be up in Jackson for the MML Midwinter Conference, so I'm sure we'll rub elbows with some of those guys and try to stress the importance of, especially these projects that were actually put on hold because of the SAVs.
Right.
The SAVs is kind of, seems to be a non-issue right now, and I'd hate for it to kind of reemerge and become an issue and an obstacle, but it would be nice if we can kind of get that path of least resistance and get those projects
One of
teed
the
up.
agenda items tonight, Councilman, has to do with awarding a contract to do some hydrographic surveys. That one of the intents of those surveys is to designate areas where we can replant the SAVs to allow us to dredge other places. So it's like you gotta find a place to put the new grass in order for you to take the old grass.
Replacement, yeah, right.
So we're moving in a direction of limiting that obstacle to us. We could have all the dredging money in the world right now, but with the SAV problem, we need to have a solution to where we do the mitigation.
Okay. And then finally, I just want to mention just one particular paving project. I really, appreciate Christie and everyone involved with all the paving, especially in the new Ward 6 area, but also in a couple of other areas in the existing Ward 6. But there's one in particular on the line, the D'Iberville Biloxi line, and it's kind of partly the county, partly D'Iberville, and partly Biloxi. It's a well-traveled road. It's really showing some wear and tear, and perhaps, I know we had a couple of supervisors sworn in today, one being my former colleague on my right, Nathan Barrett, and of course Dan Cuevas, and perhaps we can ask them to put that on their radar, and maybe a quick fix if we don't have the immediate funding for that, maybe they can help us kind of push that along. With that, one other thing I want to mention, Saturday, the Biloxi baseball team, grades 7 through 12, are going to be picking up wreaths at the cemetery that were put out during the holidays. So if y'all are near that area and want to come by and just thank them, honk your horn or whatever, I'll be out there with some of those boys. They're really excited for that project, and I'll be supporting that this weekend. That concludes my report.
All
Councilman Glenn,
right.
is that Lamy Road? Saturday, yes. Okay.
We finally got rid of Nathan Barrett going on 2024. Just kidding. His abstinence is definitely going to be felt. We're going to miss him, but regardless, we pray that the city of Biloxi as a whole is going to be blessed, and this is going to be our year. Moving on to public agenda.
Nathan, excuse me, Nathan, sorry. I'd like to fill y'all in on the 2009 comprehension plan, what happened with that, if you want to hear about that. That was all passed in 2009. They had a 40-story hotel building at the foot of Oak Street. Oak Street was supposed to be nothing but retail from one end to the other. And everything's supposed to be motels, hotels, and condominiums. And every one of them fell through. So the plan was there, but nobody would take up, even the guy with the 40-story hotel. You remember that one, Jerry? Great idea, no money. And they were supposed to have the 18-hole golf course spread all over the point where you could play golf. None of it materialized. So the plan looked good, it's just that never was sold because nobody could fight the single lots. You had to own block after block after block, and that was the problem. Anyway, that's the latest update. Thank you.
Moving on to the public agenda, citizen comments. We have a total time allotted of 45 minutes, and each person gets 3 minutes each to speak. Please, when you come to this table here, sign your name and address and speak it aloud for the record. Anyone on my left, your right, that would like to come up and speak? Anyone on my right, your left, come up and speak? Anyone in the back? No? All right. Citizen comments are now closed. Moving on to the policy agenda. Ms. Carey, will you read ordinance A, please?
Ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances pertaining to no-wake zones.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Tisdale. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Guines. Being a first reading, we'll move on to resolution B. Ms. Carey?
Resolution accepting resignation of Nathan Barrett, Councilmember Ward 7.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Tisdale. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Guines. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous vote. Brings us to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll
Motion
second.
by Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Guines. Any discussion, Mr. Glavin?
It's one on one.
We're gonna start with Mr. Glavin, because we know you take your time.
The other Mr. Gordon.
I'm gonna get over
The other
it.
Mr. Glavin, the other Mr.
Don't get over it.
Yeah, I've looked through them. I don't think I have any questions on the
Okay,
existing.
Mr. Tisdale?
Yeah, a question about the audit for fiscal year 2022. I know we're late getting it. Typically, we get our audit, it'd be great if we got it in March or April. Usually it's in June or July. My guess is that a big factor in all that's coming on the tail end of COVID. I'm assuming that's a factor, but it may not be. Are there other factors?
There are a lot of factors, and Diana's here today, but, there's nothing really been typical about audits since I've been around, 2015. I think we tried to get some things early on in March and April, but I think specifically the 22 audit was delayed because of a number of factors that went back a number of FY years. Is that not right? Through ABL, our audit firm, and we actually had to increase a little bit of the services to perform that prior years. It was at 8 or 9 prior fiscal years that needed to be corrected and brought forward. But there were some things that reached back even before, I think 2013, that had to correct some balance sheet items and brought that forward. And that took a number of months to get that. Am I not right? And then, of course, this was the first year, or the 21 was the first year of ABL, wasn't it? And there was a number of growing issues in handing off from the bills. There was some, the prior auditors had some issues that needed to be corrected. If you want to come up here and say anything, unless that answers your question, Paul.
No, that answers my that answers my question. If I understand correctly, just previous audits, in order to start fiscal year 22 with good numbers, you have to go back and be sure fiscal year 21 and maybe 20 you had good numbers there, or whatever. That's fine.
But, we're excited about where we're going to be coming up. I think we're very comfortable with the firm that we're in the middle of a number of automated features that makes life, and I think we had a pretty good state audit go around too with the sales tax audit on. Yeah, so they've been pretty busy there. But
Thank you. Okay. On item M, this deals with the Seafood Museum. There's an unexpected expense, I think, for a fire system line testing.
It's a 5-year cycle test that just wasn't predicted.
Right.
It's a one time every 5 years NFPA, whatever the number is, 25.
Yeah, so we have to, we need to schedule that just as a reoccurring expense. Okay, good deal.
Years from now.
And then on item T, this deals with elevators. 2 locations for cellular devices, and I'm just curious because we have 15 city elevators. Are these 2 devices included in those 15 elevators, or are these 2 new additional?
These are 2 that did not have the other, that they still had hardwired phones.
Okay, so there are 2 elevators of the 15. They don't have the cellular devices.
Correct. And
Okay, good deal. All right,
there's a little expense up front, but over several years, you save a lot of money.
right. Okay, and we have those in the other
The
elevators.
other elevators.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Dimming?
Just note that I'm gonna be voting in opposition to 5U.
Okay, all right.
Other than that, I have nothing.
Okay, Mr. Guines?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Lawrence, go ahead.
Thank you. Going back to D, are these numbers we have from the audit? These will be true numbers when we start our budget time.
yeah,
Right, either be all adjusted,
from the beginning
everything
of
should be caught
23.
and updated.
We're in the middle of 23. Yeah, we finished 23. That's what we'll be auditing. 22, beginning 22, beginning 23, ending 22. Beginning 23 is what's solid. Is that not right? Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we just finished 23, so.
Yeah.
These numbers now
but
for
we know-
22 would be
Finishing 22,
updated.
we needed to depend on the 22, ending 22.
So the adjusted.
22, right, Diana? Yeah, ending 22 is what makes 23 easy.
Because I remember, like I said, in 2 years, but they'd adjust all the numbers, all that should be taken care of now, so
Good.
everything we're dealing with should be true numbers.
That's it.
And,
Audited.
on H, Mike,
A,
they said they replaced it. What happened to that panel board
H,
that,
Q.
I know they're replacing it.
it's the B
Did it
pier.
burn up or is it a new one?
That's the panel that has the power to the B pier, and it's just got, it was underwater a while back. And it's, you know, it needs to be replaced, and including, they're looking at the A pier right now, same thing. Both of those panels required replacement. They've been underwater. They were performing up to now, but having problems. So one of the things we gotta learn about the port is that if we're gonna have power down there, there's gonna be a cost every time you gotta go underwater. We can't put the panels, 10 feet up in the air.
But you can't put it, why you can't put them up higher? You said you can't put them up 10 feet in the air, why not? You get them out of the water most 90% of the time.
Floating docks are going to help with that.
Say again?
Floating dock systems that we'll eventually have everywhere.
They won't go underwater. I mean, that's not the panels, but the mayor's right. The electrical lines that run underneath the piers will go up when the piers go up and down, and when they go down, so we'll have less damage over time.
And I noticed you're talking about the elevators. What about the one at the bait shop? Is that thing even work anymore?
The bait shop, no, that one's been closed down there for, 3 years, ever since Hurricane Zeta, I think, or before. It's just taken out of service. Nobody was using the second floor. It was kind of stupid, waste of money to put an elevator there.
It was, and the gears was in the water. That was the worst thing. It was below the pier. It was just set up bad from the beginning. So yeah, shutting it down, like you said, nobody. Is anybody looking at leasing that building? Anything?
Well, sometimes we panic over things like the ADA requirement, where it says you have to have an elevator if there's no state, and there was nobody to use it. Yeah. We got the same problem at the Sherman Cayman Harbor, where you got an elevator that takes you to the bathroom. Sometimes we try too hard.
An elevator, they $50,000. They're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
A lot of money. All right, thank you.
All right. This might be an ignorant question, so remind me, why on A and, hold on, wrong one, I and J, why are we paying for control panels at Raintree and Covenant Square Apartments?
Okay, those are two, your sheet reads that we're doing a duplex panel at the Raintree Apartments or the Covenant Square Apartments. Those in fact are sewage lift stations at those two apartment complexes, which are our sewage lift stations. And those are the panels that allow us to, in our SCADA system, to manage test to make sure they're not going to overflow.
Gotcha.
Not
That
all
makes
of our, but that's really was badly worded.
Yes, okay, that makes sense. All right, I appreciate that.
Lift stations at those two locations.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor of the consent agenda? All in favor? I'm abstaining from you, and Deming is voting against you. Any other exceptions? Anybody? Okay. Moving on to code enforcement. Mr. Creel?
Item A, Rogelio Martinez Garcia, 764 Highland Street. This property is still in violation, but Mr. Garcia was here before the meeting, and he asked for 30 days, and we told him that we would ask for 30 days.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Deming, seconded by Mr. Lawrence. All in favor? Unanimous vote.
Item B, Gutierrez LLC, 0 Bayview Avenue. This property is still in violation.
Do we have anyone here on Gutierrez LLC at Bayview Avenue? If not, this case is closed.
Item C, Hospitality Holding of Mississippi LLC, 2688 Beach Boulevard. This property is still in violation.
Do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of Hospitality Holding of Mississippi for 2688 Beach Boulevard? If not, this case is closed.
Item D, Brenda Joyce Hudson Estate, 252 Brown Street. That case has been resolved. Item E, Mohammed Moini Estate, 443 Brown Street. This property is still in violation, but they have cleaned it up and set it out to the road, so we would ask for 30 days.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Lawrence, seconded by Mr. Guines. All in favor? Unanimous vote.
Item F, Rebecca Oliver, 12324 Joe Husley Road. This property is still in violation.
All right. Do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of Rebecca Oliver? If not, this case is closed.
Okay. Item G, Veronica Strait, 312 Elmer Street. That case has been resolved. Item H, Robert H. Wilkie, 13190 Hudson Crone Road. We would ask for 30 days on that property, please.
Motion by Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Guines. All in favor? Unanimous vote.
Item I, Jesse Campbell, 212 Bowen Street. This property is still in violation.
Anyone here to speak on behalf of Jesse Campbell, 212 Bowen Street?
Okay, we're not asking you to demolish the structure, we're just asking to secure it.
Clean it up. Yeah, and I talked to them, I notified them, they didn't show up to do it, so let's clean it up.
Okay.
All right. No one's here to speak on behalf of them. This case is closed.
Item J, Karen G. and Lauren G. Sasadek et al., 133 Cedar Street. That case has been resolved. Item K, Flora and Vernon Jackson Estate, 358 Cruces Street. That case has been resolved.
Thank you, Jerry. Moving on to the routine agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lawrence, seconded by Mr. Glavin. Any discussion, Mr. Lawrence?
Yeah, well, you ought to have some money in. A lot of times that we've been here, so you don't come in empty-handed today.
Happy New Year, Council, and
We'll see how happy it is.
well, it could be a little bit better. When I checked the Mississippi PA website this morning, we're supposed to have $681,000 in funding reimbursements from MEMA, and an additional $2.76 million followed immediately after that. It was not in the system as of this morning. I emailed MEMA and their accountants, the Horn Group. They said that the $681,000 is still under Horn review, that's the accounting firm, and it should be followed by the $2.76 million the day after. But it did not answer when it's going to get to MEMA, and at that point, how quickly it gets into our.
So the 681 is the only one that's being held up?
It's still under review by the Horn Group, and then the next day, it's supposed to be followed by the $2.76 million. Now, we discussed this with them prior to the holidays, and we thought by this time one or both of them would already be in the system. So right now it's with the Horn Group, and from them it goes to MEMA.
You have to follow up again yourself or what?
Yes, sir. Well, I emailed them this morning when I didn't see it in there. I didn't see it in over the holidays, so I checked because of the holidays if it was there this morning, and it was not in the system. So I emailed MEMA and the Horn Group, and it's under review by the Horn Group.
Appreciate
Well,
that.
the change order reconciliation is in a 2.2 group, isn't it? Change order?
Yes, sir. That's been reviewed by MEMA Tech team, and that will be on a following
2.2
funding.
million group.
At least a 1.5, 1.6. It was a reconciliation change orders. Yes, sir.
That's reimbursement of money we've already paid.
Yes, sir. Money we've already spent. It's just pure reimbursement.
Any other discussion, Mr. Glavin?
Yeah, and I apologize for maybe being out of order. I left one point off my council report, has to do with the harbors and some of the leases. There's still a question lingering by some that are being told that we left the $3 a foot for charter boat captains blank, and therefore they're charging them the higher rate. Is that just a misunderstanding?
It's a gross misunderstanding.
Okay, I
They're
just wanted to
referring
clarify that.
back to the exhibit that was with the resolution that was not filled in because it was just an exhibit that showed this is what the text language would be. They very carefully have gone through almost 300 leases that have been issued, new leases. And in some cases, people who had the $3 rate could not prove or provide evidence that they were a charter boat. And if they weren't, they went back to $6. And there were several people that were upset about that, but that was the resolution that this council approved.
You're correct, and that's my understanding. So if they show that they have a license, if they show they had six trips
Six in the last year,
in a 12-month period,
right?
then they are renewed at the $3 a foot.
Yes.
There's no other questions on that. So
Right,
I just wanted to clarify
One other
that.
question that I brought up in my response to you earlier was that for some reason in the past, and I don't know how far back the past was, sometimes the fastest past history is, that we gave discounts for people that paid more than 1 month at a time. But there is no such language in our ordinance about discounts.
Right.
So
Thank
we
you. I
kinda-
just wanted to make sure that was in the record. Thank you. Thank you for that leeway.
Any other discussion on the routine agenda? If not, all in favor? Unanimous vote. Motion to recess?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Tisdale,
Moved.
second by Mr. Guines. All in favor? Unanimous vote. Meeting recessed. Happy New Year.